Shepherds of the flock, Fr.Mermier on superiors. Dear brothers and sisters, today we reflect on a profound theme. What does Father Fr.Mermier say about superiors? In every religious community, the superior carries a sacred and fearful responsibility. Father Mermier, our founder, never underestimated the weight of this duty. He insisted that the superior's office is not simply a title of honor, but a grave charge before God. He once wrote very plainly to the sisters, the superior must keep herself informed about everything. She must see everything. She must know, act in everything and everywhere. That is her office, her duty. It is really so essential that the smallest failure is a disorder. These words may sound overwhelming. How can one person possibly see everything, know everything, and guide everything? Father Mermier acknowledges this difficulty himself. He even says bluntly, it is impossible. And yet, he adds that to deny the gravity of this office is ignorance or pride. Why? Because the superior is entrusted with the spiritual welfare of the whole community. She will one day answer before God for every soul entrusted to her. Truly, Father Mermier reminds us, judicium durissimo, a most severe judgment awaits superiors. The first point for our reflection today, the superior is not alone. At this point, we may feel the weight of the impossible. But Father Mermier is very practical. He knows that no superior can do everything by oneself. What then must one do? While talking to sisters, he gave the answer. She must have the help of the directresses, the mistresses, the novices, etc. She must make them her helpers. She must supervise them, make them act, instruct them, but always in perfect harmony and in accordance with the rules and the established customs. In other words, authority is not a solitary tower. It is a network of collaboration. The superior is a conductor, not a soloist. The entire orchestra must play together if the music of community life is to be beautiful. And Father Mermier insists, without harmony, the community will collapse. He says clearly, without that, all of you together will ruin the community and you will ruin yourselves. This is why he speaks so often of unity. Unity between the superior, the directress, and the mistress of novices. Each has a role, but all must work in one spirit. Division destroys, harmony builds. The second point for our reflection today, the human struggles of superiors. But let us not imagine that superiors are saints carved in marble without struggles, doubts, or humiliations. Father Mermier himself, as a superior, speaks honestly about his own difficulties. He once admitted in a letter, sometimes I think it may be advantageous for the congregation to have another superior. How human that sounds. Even a founder felt the burden of his office and wondered if someone else might do better. In another moment of candor, he wrote, as for me, I have to leave you in difficulties, whilst telling you that I have had my fair share of them all this time. God willed it. May He forgive my defects. I am going on, sustained by His all-powerful hand, full of confidence to undertake other more difficult tasks. Here we see the secret strength of every superior. Not personal brilliance, not flawless leadership, but confidence in the hand of God. A superior does not stand because he or she is perfect, but because God sustains them. Third point for our reflection today is respect and obedience, even when the superior is weak. Now, some may ask, but what if the superior himself or herself is weak? What if he or she lacks the holiness, knowledge, or capacity we expect of them? Fr.Mermier answers this question very directly. He wrote, I am convinced that a superior ought to be more capable, more holy, more loving, and more perfect. However, his subordinates owe him respect, submission, and love even when he is only what he is. That is hard teaching. Yet, it echoes the wisdom of the church. Obedience is not rendered only to perfect leaders. It is rendered to imperfect human beings who hold a sacred office. The vow of obedience is not to the superior's personality, but to the authority of God exercised through him or her. Fr.Mermier reminds us that obedience and respect are acts of faith. To accept the superior's authority is to recognize that God works even through human weaknesses. The fourth point for reflection today, the superior as mother and physician. In another reflection, Fr.Mermier imagines how the community may see the superior. Like a priest preaching to a convent, or like Big John teaching a lesson to his parish. Some may even say, physician, heal yourself. He admits such criticisms are justified when aimed at ordinary people, but not when they concern a superior. Why? Because the superior, despite his or her weakness, is bound to speak, to guide, to correct, to encourage. His or her voice carries not one's own authority, but God's commission. Superior is a physician of souls, called to heal others even while he or she may be wounded. This is a beautiful image, the superior as mother or father and physician. She or he cannot cure oneself completely, yet he or she continues to offer the medicine of faith, discipline, and love to one's community. The fifth point for reflection today, the balance of humility and strength. Throughout his writings, Fr.Mermier reveals a delicate balance. He says to the sisters, a superior must be humble, aware of her limitations, ready to consult others, and willing to rely on God's grace. But she must also be strong, decisive, and faithful to the rule. If she is too authoritarian, she destroys harmony. If she is too passive, she neglects her duty. If she relies only on herself, she will collapse. If she refuses to act, the community will fall into disorder. Thus, Fr.Mermier presents a portrait of the superior as a shepherd, guiding, correcting, protecting, and sustaining the flock with patience, firmness, and love. The sixth point for reflection today, a superior's judgment, a reminder for all. Finally, Fr.Mermier warns us that superiors will face a stricter judgment, judicium durissimum, a most severe judgment. But let us not think this warning is only for superiors. It is also for us who live under their guidance. For if we criticize, resist, or undermine them, we make their heavy burden unbearable. A superior's judgment is severe, but our own judgment may also be severe if we fail to support them. Therefore, let us remember that to live in a community is not to live in opposition, superiors on one side, subordinates on the other, but to live as one body. Each has a role, but all are responsible for the health of the whole. To conclude, blessed to be guided. My dear friends, Fr.Mermier teaches us that the role of superior is both terrifying and beautiful. It is terrifying because it carries immense responsibility before God. It is beautiful because it is an office of service, motherhood, guidance, and love. He himself felt the difficulty of being a superior. He confessed his defects. He doubted his capacity. He even longed for another to take his place. Yet, he remained faithful, trusting in the hands of God. For us today, his teaching is clear. Superiors must govern with vigilance, harmony, and humility. Communities must support them with respect, obedience, and love. All of us, superior or not, must remember that authority in the church is never about domination, it is always about service. Let us then give thanks for our superiors. Let us support them in their heavy task, and let us remember that in their voice, imperfect though it may be, we hear the gentle call of the Good Shepherd guiding us home. Live Jesus.